Good morning, everyone. I'm Anisha from the Global South Coalition for Dignified Mensuration. Today, I will share a review of SRHR and climate change policies in Nepal, specifically looking at whether they address menstrual discrimination or not. So, this research was conducted by Radha, Devraj, and Tejaswi, and it was published on Frontiers 2 on June. Okay, so moving forward. So let us just recall what we have been learning for the past 2 days. Menstrual discrimination begins early, as young as when we are 6 or 9 years old, shaping unequal power relation and patriarchy from the very first moment that we learn about menstruation. So now looking at the research, despite growing climate vulnerabilities in Nepal and menstrual discrimination remains widely spread, yet the connection between menstrual discrimination, SRHR, and climate change has rarely been studied. We have reviewed 6 climate change related policies, 3 SRHR related policies using menstrual discrimination, dignified mensuration, and SRHR and climate change as the inclusion criteria. We wanted to see if the menstrual discrimination is mentioned, and if so, how it is framed within the policies. And we also tried to look for the hidden gaps that keeps mensuration invisible in these policies. Moving forward, so here are the key findings that we found out during the policy review. Menstrual discrimination exists in various forms, both visible and invisible, that we have been talking for the past 2 days. And there have been initiatives by the Nepal government too. They have brought up national policy on dignified menstruation, likewise menstrual law. However, okay, so now let's talk about why should SRHR policies be discussed in, address menstrual discrimination. So let's think about this. We learn about menstruation from 6 to 9 years of age, but yet it is rarely discussed in homes, schools, workplace, or even in policies. And this silence is a barrier to SRHR services. If I cannot talk about menstruation openly, how can I ask for safe abortion or family planning or even consent in sexual relationship? So menstrual discrimination is not just a social issue, but it is an underlying and fundamental barrier to SRHR services. As you can see, the policies have really addressed menstrual discrimination. There is the word of menstrual care and mentioned in miscellaneous, but it hasn't addressed menstrual discrimination. Okay, now let's connect this to the climate change. So earlier, poverty led to food insecurity, which ultimately led to the early or forced marriage to save food for sons. So later on, when climate change started, it's the same cycle, poverty that led to food insecurity and forced or early marriage. But what is missing in this discourse is menstrual discrimination. Even though the climate change intensifies, the system as the cycle is the same. So let me give you an example. So even in our homes, where are the heaters placed? It's in the rooms of non-mensurator, whether it's in the grandfather's room, it's in the father's room, yet we mensurators remain cold. So why is that? Why do you think it's that? Because it's of unequal power relations rooted in menstrual discrimination. It still dictates our everyday life in very minute forms. So what can be the solution for that? It is the dignified mensuration. So where mensurators and non-mensurators both share equal power, equal rights, and equal access to SRHR services and other our day-to-day needs, So that is the solution. Dignified mensuration is the solution for that. Now looking at the climate change policies, we do have policies that have mentioned gender or gender exclusion and gender equality and social exclusion, but there is no explicit mention of menstrual discrimination and SRHR in these policies. So the gaps we found out are very stark. It is menstrual discrimination functions as a structural barrier and shaped by unequal power relation and patriarchy, which restrict SRHR services, and climate risks further intensifies these vulnerabilities. Yet policies treat these issues in silos rather than seeing them as interconnected ones, leaving mensurators exposed, exposed for more vulnerable situations. So what can be the way forward for this? Policies must explicitly address menstrual discrimination within SRHR and climate frameworks, and this will integrate treating them rather than treating them separately. They should treat them as one, and developing relevant indicators can be one of them. Also building capacity and ensure monitoring and demand accountability. And we need to conduct more research on these things because we do lack a lot of research and knowledge productions. So to conclude, I'd like to just say something. Menstrual discrimination is not a private issue. Rather, it is a social and political agenda. Every time policies ignore it, they deny dignity, or block rights, and deepen vulnerability for millions of mensurators. When we get this right, mensurators can access their SRHR freely, communities can adapt to climate risks equitably, and society truly just. Dignified mensuration is not optional. It is foundation of justice, resilience, and equality. Thank you.